And his test to see if the road would work was the family car. We have an S-turn down here right after you leave Naylor Junction. And he would try that, and if he couldn't maneuver that in a car, he said, well, I got to change the super on that road. And it was kind of a seat-of-the-pants job, but he knew the land well, and he knew what would work. So I am just so happy that Federal Highways, State of Colorado, Forest Service, all of you recognized it, that it was a worthwhile job. So in celebration today, I wish my mom and dad and brother were here, but I know they're looking down on us on this beautiful day. So thank you for coming.
Guanella Pass runs 24 miles from Georgetown, which is in Clear Creek County, to Grant, which is in Park County. Now, our next speaker is Curtis Scott. Curtis, Central Federal Lands Division Engineer, Federal Highway Administration. Curtis, thank you for coming up.
Yes. Hey, I wanted to take a couple minutes. Rick Suarez couldn't be here today. He's our division director. I'm our director of project delivery, but I want to take a few minutes to say a few things about this. We get a chance to celebrate a number of our accomplishments, but not often do we get one in our backyard like this project is. You know, our office, we cover 14 states, but we're based out of Lakewood, Colorado, so it's like it's in our hometown too. So we really appreciate being a part of that. It's pretty special for us. The last phase of the job, the last 9 miles, brought to conclusion a 24-mile segment here that's really allowed for completion of an entire route of a really neat historic scenic byway. The efforts that were done were pretty impressive. There are places down here that the center line of the existing road is the outside shoulder of what used to be there. So pretty neat improvements to the roadway and the geometrics. Pretty substantial grading. We did a lot of work with a number of the elements that we had. We tried to use as much of the materials that we had on site. So whether it's the rocks for the retaining or the rockery walls, whether it's the tundra relocation, you know, the works that were done by so many people as part of this, pretty impressive effort. So with that, it's been pretty cool. Total investment on this job is about $80 million worth of construction dollars to get over the top of the pass and back down again. So something we're pretty proud of. It's the culmination of 30 years of effort by a lot of people that have been at the table and been a part of this. So we were fortunate enough to be a lot of the engineering support and the driving force between helping to get some of the money here. So pretty cool stuff. This is the culmination of a full environmental impact statement. So I mean, there's significant work that goes into those and is involved in getting to a record of decision, getting 2 counties, 2 different forests to play nice in the same box, and it's really an impressive effort by everybody involved. So pretty neat to be a part of that. As most people have mentioned, this is a tremendous multi-agency effort. We had folks from Park County, Clear Creek County, the cities of Georgetown and Grant, Pike, Roosevelt National Forest, the Arapahoe, I'm going to butcher these names, sorry, it's Pike, Isabel, and the Arapahoe Roosevelt National Forest, CDOT, and others that have been instrumental in this. I was trying to think back about the funding for this job. I think it's seen probably about 6 or 7 different highway legislations for us. I think it spanned everything from ICE-T to Safety Lou to T21 to MAP 21, now to the most recent FAST Act. And we had the American Recovery and Reinvestment Act that put the stimulus money into the middle of this thing. So you throw all of those different funding mechanisms together, and we managed to pull off pretty incredible feat. So what's neat about this job is it provides access to really a pretty spectacular high-use recreational site, whether it's Mt Bierstadt and all the wonderful places we're able to see. But then it's also a pretty neat economic generator for the local communities. So we've seen that as pretty cool. It's opened up a lot of opportunities for whether it's bicyclists, the car community, whether it's the hot rods and so forth that have used the road and everything. So it's pretty special. So I did want to acknowledge a number of the folks that we've had involved with this job. Everyone from our project managers. I got a long list. I know I'm going to butcher and probably leave some names off, so for that I apologize. But Mark Taylor is one of our original project managers. John Knowles has been involved. Chuck Luters, Mark Mang, Michael Ledford. All these are folks that probably names that people will remember going through this. Tony Gallardi, Kevin Black, been a part of it. Randy Everett, Brian Dobling, and Jim Kerrigan were a huge effort, especially coming up the Georgetown side of this. Brent Nagan, Dan Sorensen, let's see, Eric Zeller, Kamis did a lot of the geotech work. Nicole Winterton did a huge effort on the environmental push, especially the reassessment there. Matt DeMarco, man, James Herlick, Scott Markle helped on the grant side of this. Whether it's our survey crews, our right-of-way folks, I mean, so many folks have been involved with this. I'll bet if I pulled a listing of everybody out of our office, there's hundreds that have been involved over time. So, but we did have a lot of support from the A&E community, whether it's Roxall and Atkins that have provided support for the inspection and so forth. We had Mark Talavetti with Jacobs doing a lot of the design services and helping support that. Our construction contractors, ACC and SEMA, were the main forces going up and over the top. You know, really it's a huge effort. So with that, I'm gonna just say thank you for letting us be a part of it, letting us be in your backyard. And like I said, it's also our backyard, but it's really an honor and a privilege for Federal Highway to be a part of this for the duration that we've been. And for that, I just say thank you, and hopefully we've made you proud.
Oh, you have. Thank you.
Next from Clear Creek County, County Commissioner Phil Buckland. Right here.
Give me a second to balance. Thank you for the federal highway and so forth. What a beautiful project. It turned out so great. And you got my list, so you don't have to go over that again. And what a beautiful day. What a beautiful scenery. And all this area around here and so forth, this was revegetated, recreated. They replanted things here. So what you see here was not the way it looked when it started here many years ago. But it looks beautiful. When they first started, I thought, what in the world are we replanting some of the sedums and different things up here? But you were right. It turned out great and so forth. Thanks for, again, the U.S. Forest Service, the Pike, the Arapahoe, Penny Woo. You got a wonderful project up here. It creates a wonderful interpretive area, camping, hiking, photography, multi-use of the recreation, and somebody mentioned the economic driver. So to Ranger Woo, thank you so much for your staff and also the Pike on the other side. Thank you very much. Also, the modern use of the engineering to make it occur. It improved our air quality. We don't have the dust we used to have. We got a lot friendlier folks when you're not having road rage, following each other and each other's, and it's safer without the washboarding. The water quality is better where we're not pushing the gravel and everything into the streams, and it makes a multi-use out of it for bicyclists, hiking, all sorts of events up here. And another 14er, I don't. We may be loving it to death. We may have to be running shuttles up here in the future. But what a wonderful area it is. And also, I want to stop or end with thanking our congressional delegate, Casey Becker, our representative, Andrew Dunkley from Senator Gardner's office. What he mentioned was all of these were multi-agency, gone through multi-years of different funding and so forth. Thank you so much for doing all this. One last thing, I guess. Thank you, Loveland Ski Area, for the shuttles, XL Power Company for help funding this. And with that, Bert, I'll turn it over for Park County, our neighbors to the south, and it is so great to work with good neighbors like that.
Thank you, Phil. Park County Commissioner Dick Hodges.
I was threatened with recall this morning if I didn't make a couple announcements, so forgive me for doing that. And the person that did it, I won't give it the name, but it rings with Bell. So if the name rhymes with Bell. Bailey Days is tomorrow at 9 o'clock in the morning, going to about 4 p.m. I believe. I asked very recently to do that. The other announcement I want to make is you'll see a gray car, a red car, and an orange car. Well, Commissioner Brazil's county-provided car is the orange one. Mine is the red-provided car. The gray one is Clear Creek, so be careful when you go by. We have money troubles, folks. That's why we're driving smaller vehicles. I'm going to start with a story, and it's kind of a story about why I fell in love with this place. After I thought I was in love with it, and I really fell in love with it. And I was coming across here on the wonderful dirt road, coming onto the pavement into Clear Creek County, into the forested area, and two bighorn sheep rams slowly walked across the road. So I stopped for them. So then I said, that's wonderful. Here come some lambs, 4 or 5 of them. And they start to walk across the road. And this is really great. Look over the right, there's some ewes over there standing at the other side of the road. Well, the lambs decided that the road was a really great place to stand. So they stopped. So I had a meeting over in the Vale, and I thought, this is worth it. I'm going to wait and watch. Well, I waited, and they stood there, and they stood there, and they stood there. And I thought, well, I've got to move these animals out of the way as much as I hate to, because I've got to get to my meeting. About that time, a car from out of state came up the other way from Georgetown. It was a family. All of a sudden, I saw all these faces looking out the front window at those lambs and those ewes. And it was a Norman Rockwell moment. It really was. So I decided I could be a little later for the meeting, and I sat there until those lambs finally decided to move. And that's what we got here, folks. A wonderful place. And all of us have worked so hard for that to happen. I came late in the game. I know that many of our government agencies, federal highways, exerted maximum patience with our public to get public acceptance. Now we have public endorsement. The engineering here is incredible. I don't think you're going to see engineered highways like this anywhere else, personally. The staff from the state of Colorado, CDOT, they made the final leg possible. Without their help, we wouldn't be having this solid. So, the final thing I saw that I'm in great admiration of is the collaboration between so many government agencies, state, federal, county. We all work together for one purpose, and that was to have what we have today, here and now. And so for that, I'm ending my term in January. I'm forever going to remember this day and the first time I drove across it. Thank you very much.
Two forests, the Arapahoe Roosevelt there on the Clear Creek side. We have Ron Archuleta, Deputy Forest Supervisor, and on the Pike County side, or the Park County, Pike Park, we have Aaron Connolly, Forest Supervisor from that forest. So the two of them are going to speak to you together about the
All right.
We're really glad to be here today. I'd like whoever was able to get this sunny day, could you please raise your hand so I know who that person is? So as you stated, your public lands are administered by 2 national forests, depending on which side of the pass you're on. Arapahoe Roosevelt is on this side, and the Pike on that side, and I'm representing the Arapahoe side. I do want to acknowledge a couple of people. Penny Wu, the district ranger, who more of you know much better than you know me, because I know she's worked real closely with you folks on this. And then Nicole Melandry. Where are you, Nicole? I don't know if she's here, but she's somebody from the district who's been involved as well. And then I also want to recognize Chris Sporrell, who used to work in our regional office in Lakewood and now works for our Washington office, and he's been engaged in this project as well. So there's a quick story, and then I'm going to turn it over to Aaron. When I was about 5 years old, my family and I, we lived down in southwestern Colorado, down near Durango in a little town called Naples. And we would drive to, the big thing for us was to drive to Denver, right, and spend the weekend there. I remember one particular time when I was about 5 years old, my father just decided out of the blue, we're going to go over to Guanella Pass and get into it. And my mom was just like, oh my gosh, I can't believe it. And at that time, of course, the entire road was dirt. And I remember her kind of being a little unhappy all the way up until we got here. And we were able to get out of the car and enjoy this landscape for a couple of hours, and then we headed down the other side, and that made it all worth it. So I just wanted to, and I haven't been back since then, to be honest with you, so it's really nice to be back. And I know my mom would appreciate that it's now paved. So I have a prepared statement, and I want to read this, but I also want to tell you that it's coming from the heart. And again, I'm representing a number of other Forest Service folks on the Arapaho side with regard to what I'm going to say. So I want to thank you for inviting me today. My name is Ron Archuleta, and again, I represent the Arapaho Roosevelt National Forest out of Fort Collins, which includes the northern half of the Guanella Pass Scenic and Historic Byway. What a breathtaking venue for recognizing such an important transportation corridor. Completion of this project, however, represents much more than a transportation corridor. It represents the thinking of key communities, agencies, and various citizens concerned for the future conservation and management of the Guanella Pass Scenic and Historic Byway. Various stakeholders, many of whom are here today, have worked tirelessly to recognize the significance of the byway by participating in several working groups, coalitions, and committees in order to provide input, host public meetings, and work toward a unified vision for the future management of this corridor. Our priority for the Guanella Byway is much like yours, to manage and provide recreation opportunities based on collaborative communication, strategic partnerships, and innovative thinking that will ultimately shape the recreation for the byway through the 21st century. Because of our close proximity to Denver Metro, we will continue to experience rapid growth along the Front Range, and it will therefore be imperative we continue to work together to achieve balance between protection of natural and cultural resources while addressing ever-increasing trends in visitor use. Whether you have provided input about recreation, historical, cultural, or natural resources that make this corridor one of the premier byways in the state of Colorado, on behalf of the ARP, or Arapaho National Forest, I wish to thank you for your efforts, congratulate you on achieving the completion of such a significant project, and ask that you too stay engaged as we move forward. Thank you very much.
So, like Ron started off, I'd like to just acknowledge a few folks from the south side of the Forest Service. I'm a relatively newcomer to the area, and know that our folks have been working with all of you to make this vision a reality over the many, many years that it's been going on. Some folks from the south side are Brian Banks, who's our district ranger at the South Platte. I have South Parks and South Platte Ranger District out of the Morrison area. And then I don't know if we have anybody else from the district that's here. Okay, yeah. So anyway, introducing Brian Banks, and thanks to you and all the people that you work with and with whom you've worked with that have been involved in this process, because Brian is a little bit not quite old enough to have been here the whole 30 years. I was struck by the sharing of these folks behind me, and then of Ron too. One word that comes to my mind, and that's a connection. And if it hadn't been Sally's father's connection to the land and his desire to have a connection between Clear Creek and Park counties, this would not have been here. If it had not been the connection that he made with the other folks that needed to be engaged in creating this or improving it, it would not have been here. If it had not been the connections between the multiple agencies, the counties, the state, the locals, the communities, this would not be here. And it really is through that connection and through those collaborations that vision long time ago that Sally's father had, that we have here today. And not only those of us that had vehicles that could have come up the dirt road can enjoy, but we now are able to enjoy it. And the vehicles that drove up here today, the beautiful red and orange and gray and tan vehicles that are here, are able to come up to this path today. So it's just a really an honor to have been a part of that. It's an honor for us to have been a part of creating something that will create new and improved access for the public to come and enjoy their national forest lands. And I think that the connections, making those connections, those folks coming up here, whether it be driving for pleasure, which is the primary use of the national forest and recreation is driving for pleasure, more people can do that, or whether it's to climb Bierstadt or Square Top or visit the lakes or hike any other trails, the access will allow folks to make a connection to their national forest. And some of you may have already made those connections and may help others to make those connections. And with that, as Ron mentioned, we will have an increase of use. We'll have new people that have never been here before, that have never seen this, that will be able to partake. We'll have more people that haven't been able to get up here that will be able to see and access the areas. They'll be able to enjoy Burning Bear Campground. They'll be able to enjoy 3 Mile Trailhead that maybe they hadn't been able to enjoy before. And through that connection to the land, enhance the appreciation that I know that all of you have for the National Forest, and the appreciation that will grow to preservation and taking care of that land such that we can have these beautiful areas, this access on into the future. So I'd just like to say thanks to all of you that were involved, whether you were directly involved in the vision, the design, the implementation, the support of that, the garnering public support and understanding, wherever you played a part into it. Thank you for having this awesome scenic byway, both state and federal, become a vision and a reality. Thank you.
Colorado Department of Transportation Executive Director, Shaylin Bass.
It almost seems like a travesty to speak, at an event like this because it's just so stunningly beautiful. So I'm going to use a portion of my time to just ask everybody to just not speak and take a deep breath and just enjoy this moment. So when I think of scenic byways, when I think of traffic, Lord knows our purpose, I find, for CDOT is to save people's lives or to make people's lives better, right? And not everybody agrees with that when they see the orange cones. But when our folks are out here maintaining these passes, that's saving people's lives because lots of folks, Colorado's the one state that I've been in where when it snows, people actually go out on the roads. Right? Other states, people get a loaf of bread and stay home. Here, they're like, let's get out. And it's our men and women who have to go out and maintain those roads and keep them safe. And two, we try to make projects that make people's lives better. But scenic byways to me, when you think about the Front Range or I-70 or most roads, you think about increasing blood pressure, traffic, stops, tasks that you have to do. Scenic byways are the complete opposite of that. Scenic byways are the highways where you get out and you stop and you take a deep breath and you just appreciate where you are. When I got here almost 2 years ago now, I did a 3-day tour around the state and we were headed south on I-25 at dusk, and the sun was going down behind the Sangre de Cristo Mountains, I think, and the sky was purple, and it was literally intoxicatingly beautiful. And when people ask me about Colorado, I say it's intoxicatingly beautiful, and this place fits that. It is intoxicatingly beautiful. So I am so glad that we were able to be part of this partnership. And the last thing I'll say is that oftentimes there's a pejorative sense around government, right? What does government do? What do my tax dollars do? Why do we have government? If not for government, this doesn't happen. This isn't here, and so tell that story too. When you're asking people why is it important, why do we do what we do? Whether it's the Forest Service, federal highways, state and local governments, this is good. What's that saying? The world is a better place when old men plant trees that they will never sit in the shade of. I butchered that, but I feel like there will be generations of people who will come up here and they won't know who the people were that were here today, but they will be able to stop and breathe and enjoy. So thank you very much for allowing me to speak.
Mayor of Georgia, police judge. Make that police judge of Georgetown, Matt Skeen.
town of Georgetown is just down the valley, and we really view this as our backyard, quite literally. And we love it, and we get up here a lot. And quite frankly, we're kind of old-fashioned in Georgetown, hence I'm not the mayor, I'm the police judge. As some of you know, we're the last territorially chartered city in the state of Colorado. We're kind of old-fashioned. We're really into historic preservation. And so when various folks started talking about changing the Guanella Pass Road, the folks in Georgetown were skeptical. I think that's probably kind of an understatement. We passed out bumper stickers. If you recall, "Don't pave Guanella," was a hot political issue in the town. And all I can say today, standing here among this fantastic, beautiful project, is our skepticism. I'm not going to say it was misplaced, but with the cooperation of all of the agencies and all of the people who worked so hard, this turned out to be a wonderful project that I think is universally appreciated in Georgetown, and everyone kind of looks back on it and says, what were we thinking? But then they say, well, we added a little bit through our efforts to make sure that the project was done right. And I think that we owe a lot of gratitude and thanks for all of the various agencies who cooperated and worked very closely with the locals to make sure that this was going to be a project that we could all be proud of. Now, initially, there were all sorts of terrible rumors that went around, which one of the rumors was that they were going to make the exit for Guanella Pass off I-70 and just completely bypass Georgetown. Now, I think that would have been a really interesting project. It might have surpassed the Georgetown Loop as an engineering feat. To make the Guanella Pass Road start at I-70 and just have a huge bridge go across. That would have been interesting.
We could do that if you like.
Right there. The other rumor that we heard, which the engineers really missed an opportunity, was they were going to make a road that you could drive 60 miles an hour from Georgetown to Grant. Now, can you imagine? That would have been a real engineering project. Take all the curves out and make it say, well, it didn't turn out that way, and it just turned out wonderfully. And so thank you so much. And this will be something that we will, the citizens of Georgetown will enjoy every day. And we thank you for giving us this wonderful gift.
There have been a lot of thank yous out here, but there might be at least one that is missing. Public Works Departments, plural. Right, now that we've done all of this, we can just hand it over to our Public Works Departments. Thank you, Rod, very much. And take care of it from here on out. But sincerely, it is the burden that you and the Park County Public Works Department are taking on. Thanks so much for all of that. And really, thanks as much as everybody else has gotten thanked. So with that, it's time for music again. Yeah.